तो आनी शुरू हो जाएगी। उधर का भी है ना, मैं अब बात से कहूँगा वो कल परसों कर देगा तो पास राशि सॉरी वीडियो दैट्स गुड बस मिनिमाइज कर दो but on पर and then you're ready.
Ready, right? We are on it? No, this is not on.
You on that?
Got anything? Got anything? Sign anything?
No, no.
You don't know? Yeah. صلوات على محمد وآل محمد. So I would like to start the program. Today's sponsors are Brother Jafar Mohsen and Nigat Mohsen and Wail Khansa. And the name of their marhumin are Sayyid Muhammad Mohsen, Ali Mohsen, Hassan Mohsen, Abida Mohsen, Rubab Fatima, Sayyid Hassan Abbas, Kishwar Sultana, Nazia Hassan. So please recite a Fatiha for these marhumin and for your marhumin and the marhumin on the monument of Zahra. Just a reminder, please make sure you have your mask on at all times and maintain social distance, inshallah. So in keeping with the theme of Maulana's speeches, I found a poem by Zahra Naqvi about how Karbala relates with today. So I'll be reciting that poem, inshallah. Salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. The poem is called, Is There Anyone to Help You? You called out, deserted on the sands of Karbala, with the shameless swords of the traitors glinting with malice before you. You called out, is there anyone to help me? That day for you was silence. That day your companions could not jump to your side. That day Abbas could not respond with his sword held high. That day they lay still on the plains of Karbala, with the east wind blowing dust over their bodies. And you looked out into the face of evil, the prophet betrayed, and you alone. I wish I could say today your call has been answered. I wish I could say today the millions of us are there with you in the plains of Karbala, that we call out with a resounding answer that echoes over the world, trembles mountain ranges and weakens the knees of any oppressor, shatters the pillars of any tyrant, strikes hope into the eyes of the oppressed, and lightens the world with our love for you. An answer that holds the ferocity of Abbas as he thundered towards Furat. An answer that has the daring fury of Zainab, salamullah alayha, as she slammed Yazid in his court. An answer that has the urgent and basic love that moved Ali al-Asghar to fall off his cradle. An answer that mimics the fierce loyalty of the shuhada that lay in the battlefield that day, and you were alone. You were alone, but not again. I wish to say it would not happen again. The streets shrouded in black, the handkerchiefs weighty with tears, the hearts that cry out for you, the compassion, the pain, the sorrow that rings out from every bosom. All an ardent reply to your call, that we are here, that we care. I long to say that this time your army will not be 72. This time masses of millions will march along you. The glint of our combined swords will light the world. The proof of our loyalty, the tears that we have wept, and these black shrouds on our back. This time around you will not be alone, Imam. We have answered your call. I hunger to say. But today I still hear your call. It echoes from the orphans of Iraq. It comes resoundingly from the tyrannized in Palestine, from the helpless in Africa, the terrorized in Afghanistan, Pakistan, China, India, from every land, in every language your call. Is there anyone to help me? Stalks and haunts the world. It goes unheard, ignored, abused, but so defiantly loud in the pale eyes of the child who whimpers at the gun pointed at him. Does your despair not simmer in the eyes of the child whose only view of the world is from behind barbed wires? Can I not hear the choking sobs of Rubab when a mother buries her child in Gaza under the rain of bombs? Can I not hear the weeping of Sukaina on the headless body of her father when a girl screams as her father is blown up to smithereens? Can I not hear the wails of Al-Atash coming from the refugee tents set up in my country? Can I not hear the screams in the desert night when the tents burn to ashes, coming from the family that watches terrified as their neighborhood is bulldozed by army tanks? In the desperate eyes of each and every single one of them, I can hear the echoing of your call to me. Is there anyone to help me? Are they abandoned like you on the battlefield? The graves of today's martyrs are fresh, moist with blood. Their Yazids still stand, spitting out lies to the world. How could I say every day is not Ashura? How could I say every land is not Karbala? I wish to say much to you, to somehow be able to meet your eyes and tell you that we are not like the cowardly backstabbing Kufans, that we are not like the stone-hearted Yazidis, that we are answering your call, that we are there to help you. But today, when I look into the world and the clamor of oppression deafens me, I tremble to say, I still hear a silence. I hear a silence that echoes the hush of the desert on the day of Ashura. A silence which is a blessing for a Yazid, a silence that stifles any hope, a silence that brings the end so much closer, a silence that is oppression, the silence you were met with, is that silence that I hear still today. Please recite salawat for the poet of this poem, salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Now I would like to invite Maulana Sayyid Hadi Yassin to begin the majlis. Salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. أحسنت. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا ونبينا حبيب قلوبنا وطبيب نفوسنا وشفيع ذنوبنا أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد. صل على محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين ولعنة دائمة لأعدائهم أجمعين من الآن إلى لقاء يوم الدين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. السلام عليك يا أبا عبد الله وعلى الأرواح التي حلت بفنائك. عليك مني سلام الله أبدا ما بقيت وبقي الليل والنهار، ولا جعله الله آخر الأهد مني لزيارتكم all together. السلام على الحسين وعلى علي بن الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين. May Allah inshallah help us to be among the lovers and muhibbeen and those who follow the path of Imam Hussein. Recite another salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. We thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for this great opportunity once again, being in the majlis of Sayyid al-Shuhada, Imam Hussein alayhi salatu wassalam. Indeed, it's an opportunity, a tawfiq, to be able to be sitting on the farsh, the majlis, and the carpet of the majlis of Imam Hussein alayhi salatu wassalam. May Allah, as He gave us tawfiq that we're in this majlis, also give us tawfiq to follow the path of Sayyid al-Shuhada, inshallah, bi barakat salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Karbala and Ashura, it's so unique from all aspects in this world, from the worldly perspective when you look at it, that you see it as the most comprehensive event that has ever happened in the entire history of human beings. When you look at it from the spiritual perspective, it's full of lessons. We know about this, we heard about this. When it comes to psychological aspects, it's a field of a lot of questions, a lot of power. When it comes to sociology, political aspects, from different sides, it's so unique, Karbala. Throughout the history, we do not have any event that happened somewhere in the world, in one region, in one time, half a day, that not only could impact and influence the entire people of that time, but also throughout the history, it impacted and influenced a lot of people as well. Until today, almost 1,400 years after that, people are still being influenced and affected by that. The good example is me and you sitting in the United States, miles and thousand miles away from Karbala, mourning the Azab of Sayyid al-Shuhada. And million people around the world are doing the same thing. We don't have any event to that extent that went beyond the political, beyond the belief system of people, beyond the borders, and could impact a lot of people. An event that apparently got defeated. Imam Hussein apparently got defeated by Yazid. Yeah? All of them are martyred and the family are captured. But through that could defeat Bani Umayyah and remove Bani Umayyah from the history of Islam. And not only that,
the messages of Imam Hussein staying in the ears of the history, that whoever comes and hear what he did, what his family did, they learn lessons from Imam Hussein. Today, wherever you go, you hear Labbaik ya Hussein. Anywhere you want to go against oppression, you hear Labbaik ya Hussein. What is that connection today, 2021, 2020, 2022, and that time at Karbala? This is the connection of the. That shows Ashura is alive. Something that is dead is forgotten, right? Many wars happen between the kings of this, the group of that, the rebels of this. Many people started fighting throughout the history, right? Big kings of here, big king of Napoleon here, somewhere else. King of Britain on that side. No one remembered that. It's just part of the maybe books of histories that maybe some people, sometimes they read it, this thing happened. Who remembers? Because it's dead. It's over. Expired. But the Imam Hussein Karbala and Ashura, it shows it's alive. Million and million people from the whole around the world go to Arba'in walk. It shows that Karbala, Ashura, Imam Hussein is still alive. Well, how is it, before I go to the topic that we're having tonight and every night, how is it possible that Imam Hussein is alive? Few points I would like to mention to you. Number one, the irada of Allah, the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He himself wants the name of Imam Hussein, the message of Imam Hussein is still alive in the history and throughout, and inshallah until the day of judgment. This is the will of Allah. When He wants something, kun fayakun. He wants to do something, it will happen. No one can stand against it. Number one, please. Second, the personality of Imam Hussein is himself. He is so charismatic that he can acquire and he can have a lot of people be around him. You know that among the Shuhada of Karbala, those who joined Imam Hussein, many of them, they were not even Muslim, not even Shia. The path towards Kufa or towards Karbala, because of Imam Hussein, they become Shia. Some of them, they were against Shia and Shiism at that time. They followed Imam Hussein. There was not a class of beliefs or aqaid to find what is Shia is. No, they saw Imam Hussein, he attracted them. And the whole discussion about it. The third reason that you might be new for you, how savage and barbaric were the enemies of Imam Hussein and what they did in Karbala, how much they show no mercy. It's another reason that the message of Imam Hussein is alive today. One of the biggest reasons is emotional aspects. As soon as you hear the name of Ali Asghar, Sakina, Ruqayya, Ruba, you started crying. Whoever you narrates the story of Karbala, they get touched by it, they start crying. The personality of the enemies of Imam Hussein is another reason that is not forgotten. You don't have anywhere in the history that people do this type of things to 72 plus people and innocent children in the entire world. Where in the world you see that they put the behead, the dead shuhada, the bodies, and they put it on the spheres from this city to another city? From where do you find it? It's another reason that it's alive still, and many other reasons. Inshallah, other nights we'll talk about it. Imam Hussein said, the message, the reason that I'm standing in front of Yazid is the same reason, the same culture of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam. The same culture. We mentioned Yazid. It's not Yazid, it's the culture of Umayyi. It's the culture of Jahl and Jahiliyyah. Jahl means what? Ignorance. Yazid is a symbol of ignorance of the time. And Imam Hussein is a symbol of the opposite side of Yazid, the side of Anbiya and Awliya, and Iman and knowledge and any beauty that you can imagine. This is the taghabul and confrontation between ilm, between deen, between iman and jahl and ignorance and all the evil that you can imagine. That's why it doesn't go away from the history of the world. Why? Because it's not about two people. No, it's about two cultures standing against each other. Imam says, I came for the same reason that Rasulullah came, for the sake of what? Removing jahl and ignorance from the society. The same thing. لِيَسْتَنْقَذَ إِبَادِكَ مِنَ الْجَهَالَةِ. So awaken feed people from that jahl and ignorance that they have. You want to help them too. That's why it became the topic of our this night's. We want to see that if Rasulullah, he removed that jahl from that society that he did, then why he said, I'm a prophet between two era of ignorance. I've been raised to be the prophet between two era of ignorance. Jahiliyat al-ula, the first Jahiliyyah ignorance, and the other one. We have this in our traditions and we never heard about these things. We have this in the ayat of Quran and no one talked about these things. That's why we call the topics of what? The modern era of ignorance. When we look at the history, when you look at the pre-Islamic era, the Asr of Jahiliyyah, the era of ignorance, we see they had certain characteristics. They were killing each other, stealing from each other. In that society was worshiping idols, full of superstitions in that society. The combination of these characteristics define them as people of Jahiliyyah, people of ignorance. Rasulullah comes with the power of the teachings of Islam to remove the jahl and ignorance of that time. Agree? We mentioned last night. So the reason that jahl and ignorance at that time was removed was what? Islam. The orders of Islam, the recommendations of Islam. We see that right after that, few years after that, less than 50 years at the time of Imam Hussein, until now, the Jahiliyyah comes back. What does it mean? When you get away from the teachings of Rasulullah, the teachings of Islam, the Jahl will come back again. Imagine the science today. Academic aspects, right? We said nowadays, academically and science-wise, we're good. Human beings are good, right? Imagine we stop all the academic institutions. No books, no studies, no school, nothing. Tell me what happened. What will happen? No one followed the academic recommendations, anything regarding that. All goes back to the previous times. What will happen? Tell me. Goes to Jahiliyyah. Jahl equal ilm and knowledge, right? Because we said jahl means equal to different things, right? You don't study, stop a study, where do you go? You become illiterate. Doesn't matter when and how, right? Why the science says you need to update yourself a lot, keep updating yourself, right? Keep learning and keep learning. When you get away from ahkam of Islam, that Rasulullah with those ahkam, with those regulations, with those akhlaq and moral and ethical aspects, you remove the first era of Jahiliyyah. When you get away from it, the Jahl will come back. Today, the entire world are miles and miles away from the teachings of Anbiya and Awliya. And Rasulullah is the head of the culture of Anbiya, right? Isa, Musa, Nuh, Ibrahim, Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Allahumma salli. When you get away from the teachings of Anbiya, which we see the world got away from the teachings of Anbiya, you go to schools, you go to universities, you talk about religiosity, they make fun of you. I study psychology. Here, whenever I were bringing the topic of religiosity, we were looking, it's like, who is it? What year are you living in? Excuse me. There was just, I was like, look, wait, but, so you talk about human beings. Religion is talking about human beings' soul. Psychology means ilmun nafs in Arabic, the knowledge of nafs. Nafs means what? Your soul. Look, don't even talk about it. That's why what is going on in all this therapists and all these things around the what kind of things they say, right? You get away, everything is now secular, minus deen, minus religion. If you talk about religion, that means, oh, come on. That is why the era, so the problem nowadays is that we mentioned the jahiliyyah and ignorance of this time is way more dangerous than that time. Because that time, group of Arab, let's say few thousand of Quraysh, were against Rasulullah, were trying to, very simple ignorance. Very simple ignorance. Although it was very bad type of ignorance, but very simple ignorance. Today, this ignorance is covered with science, with ilm, with knowledge, with a lot of beauties. It's very difficult to recognize it. This is a modern, we're going to talk about it how. It is very important what I'm going to say now. The foundation of Jahiliyyat of that time were two words, shahwat and ghadab. I'm purposely using the Arabic term so we get used to it. I'm going to go to translation. Two words, shahwat and ghadab. Shahwat means desires. Ghadab means what? Violence, anger, arrogance. Two things were rotating around the society at that time. We're saying this. Shahwat means desires. It can be sexual. It can be the worldly and dunya shahwat. The position, I'm in charge, I'm high, who is higher than others? This tribe is higher than that tribe. This culture is better than that culture, right? We're better than others. Any legitimate desires where they were rotating around that at that society of pre-Islamic society. Second, violence and anger and killing. Does it sound familiar or not? Sexuality and violence. Does it ring anything or not? I have a friend, he's in the industry of film and movies and in LA and Hollywood and stuff like that. He's a director. Once I was talking to him, he was like, you know, what if we want to have a documentary about Islamic things? Like, let me tell you something. For any documentaries, any movies should rotate around two things. Either shahwat, lust, sexual aspects, or violence. Look at the movies now. These are the two main combination of any movies, right? Violence from any means and anyhow, killing, hurting, blah, 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 right? Second, the documentaries, the family of so-and-so, the family of so-and-so, I don't want to mention their names. The number of Rasulullah is so pure that we didn't even mention these names of these people, right? The document of this community, this family of so-and-so that they're rich, they became successful, and in Instagram they have few million, followers. This family and that family and that family, you see that how they fight with each other throughout their episodes? Sometimes they fight to make it interesting. Well, these are fighting with them. Fake. Many of them fake, by the way, because they have to. They lose. Second, that's how they look, how they present, and then in their private things, they have to post their videos and pictures to show, to bring this into people. These two main things, main factors of Jahiliyyah of that time. It's very scary, isn't it? Covered. When we talk about Jahiliyyah of pre-Islam, it's like, oh my God, such a horrible people. Horrible people. When we talk about Jahiliyyah, what comes to your mind? Disgust by those people. Am I correct? But nowadays, when we talk about Jahiliyyah, what do you mean? Therefore, ignorance, era of ignorance, Jahl and Jahiliyyah means what? Means any moment, any time, any period of time, any era that people's life and lifestyle is so much rotated around these characteristics of era of Jahiliyyah, including these two things I mentioned. Therefore, Jahiliyyah and ignorance, it's not a time, it's a lifestyle. Am I able to convey that enough? Yeah, clear enough? Jahl and Jahiliyyah means what? The lifestyle that people choose for themselves to live based on the characteristics of people who lived at that time. We said violence, right? How many people do you think they were killed at that time, pre-Islamic era? Thousands and thousands, right? 5,000, 10,000, 20,000. How many? What was the population at that time? Right? 20th century, we had 2 world wars. First World War, you know how many people were killed? Yes. 20 million people were killed. 10 million, almost 10 million, 9.7, 10 million, almost 10 million civilian, the military in the war, 10 million civilians, innocent. World War II, how many people do you think were killed? And after altogether, because of the war. 60 million people were killed in World War II. Google it. Violence that time, today. Which one do you think is worse? Which one is the scarier? Huh? Look at the video games. You guys tell me. What are the main components of video games? Violence, right? Killing against, from years ago, from 30 years ago, from the beginning. Combat, killing, boxing, blah, blah, blah. Or nowadays is the 3D visuals of definitely, attacking someone. Now they're definitely creating the environment of a city, right? They're simulating that you're in the city, right? Or you're in a war, Call of so-and-so, right? Call of Duty. And then you go kill, you are the hero, you're supposed to kill everyone. And then you go to Islamic countries as well to kill everyone for the sake of saving something. And then in those cities, the second element as well, the kind of shahawat. We're living in this era and we're not paying attention to these things. And our children are exposed to these things and we're not paying attention to these things. I'm so happy that my son, my daughter go to Sunday school. Oh, good for you. But if you're not paying attention to what others are intentionally putting together to deceive us from the right path, to change our path. Therefore, this era of Jahiliyyah and ignorance is way more dangerous than the first one, right? Do you see what is happening from the violence from that aspect? If you were, imagine, let's go back to the era of Jahiliyyah, before Islam. Go to them and says, brother, well, I have a question. What? Why are you killing your daughter? Why are you killing it? Why are you burying your own daughter alive? Why are you doing it? Do you think he would say, astaghfirullah, it's very bad things. Yeah, I know it's very bad. Do you think he would say that? He would look at you and like, what kind of question you're asking? Of course, I have a daughter I have to bury, right? Are you getting my point? Well, I have to do it. Quran says when they were giving them the news that you have a daughter, their face were getting dark, getting black, not even red. It's so angry that I have a daughter. What am I going to do with this shame for entire of Khandan and family? This was the true feelings for them because the society gave them these feelings. This is the right thing. This feeling is the right feeling. You are supposed to kill your daughter. So the munkar became ma'ruf, ma'ruf became munkar. The evil became khair, The evil became good. The good became evil. Again, it's very familiar nowadays, right? What happened at that time was that lack of aql and wisdom became dominant. Became dominant. Be aqli, not thinking. It was fashion. The motto was don't think logically. Go against what your mind and your brain and your logic tells you. This is the fashion of that time. And how about today? Let me give you some examples. Those who are drug addicts, do you think they know that drug is bad or not? They know that drug is bad. Then why they're covering their aql and go use the drug? Those who drink, all this, reports and articles are coming out. Says now, a few years ago came, Oxford said any small, amount of alcohol is dangerous for your body. But if you know that what, will go away, desire comes up, right? Another example, for example, us. Do we know, for example, sodas are not good, right? Drinking soda, it's not good, right? We can literally clean, something that it doesn't go away, any stain with the soda, right? With Coke, for example. We know it's not good for our body, right? We still drink, all of us. Please go away, because it's the norm. We'll do it. Smoking. It's dangerous. Although someone says it has vitamin C in it, right? It's dangerous. Go away. I don't use it. One of the similarities between these two eras of ignorance is that it will be opposite. What is good become bad. What is bad become good. We can see it nowadays everywhere in the societies. Look what the Quran says. Surah Tawbah, ayah 67. Al-munafiquna wal-munafiqat ba'dhum min ba'd. The hypocrites, munafiq, men and women. Very interesting. Not too many of ayat of the Quran says both men and women in the words. Munafiqun and munafiqat. Qat means woman, munafiqun means men. Interesting, both, in both sections. This, they have some type of, connection, this munafiqeen, with each other and understand. Ya'muruna bil munkar. They enjoin to evil. This is ayat Quran. وَيَنْحَوْنَ عَلَى الْمَعْرُوفِ. They forbid following the ma'roof and khayr and goodness. وَيَقْبَضُونَ أَيْدِيَهُمْ. They're very stingy. نَسُوا اللَّهَ فَنَسِيَهُمْ إِنَّ الْمُنَافِقِينَ هُمُ الْفَاسِقُونَ. They forgot Allah, and Allah already left them alone. He forgot them as well. Go do whatever. They forgot Allah. In the modern era of Jahiliyyah, there's no room for divinity, divine, spirituality. There is no need for it, right? You can literally live without any spirituality. That's Allah. They forgot Allah. In return, Allah said, okay, go do whatever you want. Abandon them, forgot them. We will meet each other at the day of judgment. We're in the modern Jahiliyyah era of ignorance. We're in nowadays the secular culture. You find a spirituality. Where? Tell me where. We mentioned in the school, there's no position for it, right? In science, there's no position for it. In the movies, no. No one is interested in it. Social media, what do you mean? They will laugh at you if you have it. We see that Muslims nowadays, if they want to have social media, I want to talk a lot about this. I'm waiting for another night, inshallah. The Muslim nowadays in social media, if they want to show themselves, they try to mimic, they try to copy the things that secular world, that non-Muslim, they show themselves. How? They try to do that with some elements of Islam and being Muslims. I hope you get what I mean. If I want to show myself somehow, I have to do those things that they do. Well, I'm Muslim, what I'm going to do? Okay, so I would have, I announce that I'm Muslim, I show I'm Muslim, but I do the same thing instead. So in the era of Jahiliyyah, some people were having daughters, they didn't want to kill their daughters, for example. They had to kill the daughters. You know why? They were saying that if I don't kill my daughter, it will be a shame. If I don't bury my daughters alive, it will be a shame. I can't go to the society. The people will look at me and says, he has a daughter and he didn't get rid of his daughter. I can't live with that shame. I'm fine to have a daughter. I can't live with that shame. In one case, one of the people at that time, he had a daughter. And the wife, she hid it from, she hid it from him that she has a girl, years and years. And then when he realized, he started, I have to kill her. He's like, please, I will take her away from you. Don't worry about this. Please, for the sake of Lat and Uzza and this idol and that idol, don't kill her. And I'll take her away from you. Don't worry about that. Okay. He didn't kill her until she became, let's say, 3, 4, 5 years old. One day, the mother was not in the house and he found the dog. He took her with himself to the desert. He started digging the ground. The girl thought he's playing with her. She started digging the ground. We have little ones. I don't want to go into details now. Until the last moment, she thought he's playing with her. Until it was over. And when she came back, she said, what did you do that? Over. Why? I can't live with the shame of having a daughter. I can live with the pressure of the society, that I don't listen to that music. I don't follow that celebrities. I don't watch these things. I don't play that video game. I can't live in a society that all my friends have phones, cell phones, smartphones, Apple Watch and other watch, a smart watch, and I don't have it. I can't live in that society. It's too much pressure for me. I don't know how else I can explain it so clearly. I can't live in a society that's telling me, you're Muslim, go back to your country. You're wearing hijab, go back to your country. I can't live with it because the pressure is too much. And unfortunately, sometimes in our Muslim families, the pressure on some people becomes so much. One of the family members, they want to follow practice some. The pressure becomes so much to push him or her not to practice. This is the member of Rasul. I have to talk about these things. I have to be clear about these things. Otherwise, yeah, Imam Hussein, mashallah, he went towards Karbala and very bad people stood in front of him. Yeah, mashallah, let's cry for him, go home. The pressure of the society. Me praying in the society? What people are going to talk about me? I mean, munkar, the evil becomes ma'ruf, khair, goodness. They are ignorance, right? The modern ignorance. If you need to pray, for example, scenario, if you need to pray somewhere that others, they see you, right? Many times happened for me, for example, I had a flight 5 minutes before, I go to fly, I have to pray. I pray over there, for example, right? I need to. I'm in an airplane, I have to pray. I'm not going to miss my salah because some people are going to judge me. But that becomes a source of embarrassment. But if someone become half naked, come outside and people look at her or him, that becomes, oh look, that's a new fashion. Oh, looks good. Am I able to bring these similarities between that era and this era? You mean me and my friends go to eat somewhere and I tell my friends, sorry, I can't come to the restaurant because I eat halal? What are they going to talk about? That becomes a source of embarrassment. But if I go eat pork, which Christianity, Judaism, Muslims, all Abrahamic religions all made it forbidden. By the way, not just Islam. What a good news. In the middle of all this dark information in terms of, scary. These are scary. Another similarity between that time and the modern era of Jahiliyyah, you know what it is? It looks so strong, Jahiliyyah. It looks so powerful. It looks so dominant. It's so weak. It's so empty. If you show a little bit of the Imam, little bit of the power, you can destroy it. At that time, the Quraysh, they have the whole society, they have the whole army, they have everything. What does Allah has? Nothing. Physical aspects, right? No army, no one, he's one person. What happens? How he did it? If you want, it's so easy to do it. That self-confidence, that bravery inside me. I am Muslim, and I'm proud of it. And these are the facts behind this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10 million. I am following these rules because of 1, 2, 3. By educating myself as well, right? I'm going to go to details, inshallah, this night. These are some of the similarities between that society and our society and our communities. In the world, we talk about the whole world. And then modern Jahiliyyah and ignorance. By the way, what I'm talking about is just some points for your mind, to intrigue your mind to start thinking more, to start researching more, finding more information. So now, in this society, if you're raising children or yourself are at the age that you're growing up, be careful constantly what is going on around you. I wanted to say, literally right now, I want to say, be careful whenever you open the door, you want to go out, what happens? I'm going to say no. Even if you close the door, be careful what is happening inside because of distance. Doesn't matter, you're inside or outside. So what happened? Whenever people get away from the Islamic teachings, doesn't matter if they live in the moon or on the earth, whenever they get away from this ethical belief system, ideology, ahkam of Islam, I literally mean it. How come Allah, out of everywhere, nowhere, he said, you know what, you have to follow this ahkam, we call it fiqh of Islam. You have to follow this, you have to pay khums, you have to pay zakat, you have to have this, you have to fast and all these things. What are they? We know that Allah is Hakim, is the wisest. Anything He says, there are hikmah and wisdom and reason behind this, right? Why a big section of Islam is fiqh, an important section? Because practically and literally, you should follow these rules. There's something in these rules that adaptable with your creation that you need to follow. Us being more vigilant around us. Not to let anything that comes to the phone to be seen with our beautiful, pure eyes that are the trust of Allah to us. At the day of judgment, the Quran says, they stop us. Our body parts start talking. The eyes would start talking. The ears would start talking. The hands would start talking. They start testifying against us. These are not ours. They're the trust of Allah to us, right? The trust that I can see. How come some people cannot see? He trusted me, I can hear. He trusted me, I can talk. What am I going to do with this tongue? At the day of judgment, he will start speaking. Ya Allah, you trusted me, his eyes, and you gave it to him and her. Look what they did with me. What kind of things they did. You trusted him, gave him and her these ears. Ya Allah, you know what kind of things she listened to this. You gave him, you gave her this beauty. It's a ni'mah of Allah, right? She looks beautiful. You don't know what she did with this beauty. Everybody does. You gave him this. You don't know what he did with this. They start testing. It's so scary, right? They start testifying against us. But on the other side, mu'mineen and the believers. Let's go to that side. The believers. These who are going to testify. Remember the hadith I said? Those who dedicate themselves truly for the sake of Allah. Allah becomes their ears. Allah becomes their eyes. Allah becomes their tongue. They do everything based on the spirituality and divine orders. They train children based on the ahkam of Islam and spirituality. They deal with their family members based on this. They deal with their in-laws based on this. She has a daughter-in-law in her house. She's always careful, making sure that any single small level of oppression doesn't go to her. Everything's fine. What can I do extra? So, on the other side, the daughter-in-law, tries her best to satisfy the in-laws, right? What can I do to provide the best for you? Because one day I want to be at your age, This will be a divine attraction. Therefore, this is the highlighted part of our speeches every night. Remember, I keep repeating. Anytime, anywhere, any people, any group of people, community, get away from the divine rules and regulations, they fall into, say it, era of ignorance. And the older the time, the worse ignorance will come. Because it will be covered with a lot of things and a lot of beauties. It doesn't show that much. It becomes more dangerous. The third night of Moharram. All these beauties that you see, all this ma'arif, knowledge, information that you're hearing from Quran, from Ahlul Bayt, because of Karbala, because of the power of Karbala, because of the beauties of Karbala, the importance of Karbala. The hadith is saying that if you have the tawfiq to have one tear from your eyes comes out for the sake of Imam Hussein alayhi salatu wasalam, has the opportunity, the hadith is saying, even if it's as little as a wing of a fly, this much little has a capacity and power to remove your entire sins. You know what that means? That emotional connection with Hussein and the name of Hussein has so much power that reminds me of improving my life and becoming better. Why? Because it's so scary. If I don't follow the path of Hussein, I might follow the path of the enemies of Hussein, who saw the beautiful Sakina, a beautiful Ruqayya, and they started torturing this 3-year-old daughter of Hussein. It is so scary. If I don't follow the path of Hussein, I would go towards the path of those people who saw the innocent little children of Hussein, but at the day of Ashura, they were running after them, pulling the earrings from the ears of this innocent daughter of Hussein, and they were keeping and taking the earrings with the ears of these innocent children. Much jahal and ignorance. How much ignorance would come to these people that they do this thing? What part of Karbala, when you look at it, when you look at Karbala, when you look at the children of Hussein, in the second day they reached Moharram, of second day of Moharram reached Karbala. In the third day, these children started feeling the Masa'ib of Hussein, and the Masa'ib of are coming towards them. You know, that group of children, they see that soldiers of Yazid are blocking their path, do not let their father go anywhere. They started feeling these children, the Masa'ib of starting now. Assalamu alaikum ya Ahl Bayt al-Nubuwwah. What part of Karbala we should recite? These people saw these innocent children, and despite that they knew they are in the Khandan and family of Rasulullah, they attacked them. السلام عليك يا أبا عبد الله يا وعلى الأرواح التي حلت بفنائك عليك مني سلام الله أبدا ما بغيت وبغي الليل والنهار ولا جعله الله آخر الأهد مني لزيارتكم. Before we say the salam, let me talk a little bit about this daughter of Hussein, this 3-year-old daughter of Hussein. I don't know how many of you guys have daughter, how many you have little sisters. You know, the sisters, you know, the daughters are very attached to their fathers. Whenever the father goes, they go with him. You know, they sit on the lap of the father. They're always around the father. I'm not saying that the Sakina of Hussein, doesn't matter what is the name, what is going on, how attached she is with Hussein alayhi salam. How attached she is with her uncle Abu Abbas. You know, the tradition saying that one of the reasons that Abul Fadl Abbas, he came finally to Imam Hussein. Hussein, John, give me permission to go and bring water. He said, Hussein, Agha, Mawla, I can't tolerate it anymore to hear the voice of Al-Atash of your children. They're calling for water, and I am here, Saqa. I am here who can bring water, and I don't do anything for them. They said that the Ashura, the 3 days that children in Haram of Hussein, they didn't drink water. Allah knows there is, you know, there was a tent. They were usually putting the containers and mashk on that tent. You know, when they were putting, sometimes it was dripping some water on the ground. On the 10th of Ashura, they were seeing these children pulling their shirts up, laying on the ground. Maybe that little of the humidity of the ground would help them not to feel the thirst of that day. Imagine Abbas, he's seeing this sins. Imam Hussein, he's seeing these things are happening. They cannot do anything. Abbas left to bring the water for this Naz down a 3-year-old of Hussein. What Qawm would run after a 3-year-old after they kill her father with the worst type of killing that they could. Hussein, 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 yeah. Maybe Imam Hussein also was very attached to this 3-year-old as well. Maybe he had a special recommendation to Zainab when he was saying, take care of my children. Also this little daughter, Zainab. Why in the history of Karbala? Let's go to Kharabe Sham. How about that, huh? When we see that Sakina Ruqayya started crying in Sham, in Damascus, after almost few days, maybe close to 30 days, not seeing her father. She's crying. You know what they brought for her? Instead of calming her down, they brought a tray. When she got the tray, she looked at the aunt. She says, "Auntie Zainab, I didn't want the food because it was covered." As soon as she uncovered the beautiful head of her father, she grabbed the head of the father. You know, when the daughters, they jump to their father, she grabbed the head of daughter. During the day, the daughter usually say, "Baba, you were not home. These things happened to us. Baba, you were not with us during the caravan. How many times they hit me? How many times they hit my aunt Zainab? How many times they hit my uncle Imam Sajjad?" When the ladies Mukhaddarat, they heard that this lady is quiet, alhamdulillah, she fell asleep now after a long day. But Zainab knows when she called her, she is not answering. What happened? She cannot tolerate anymore. She left this dunya to be attached to her father. One last musibat, inshallah, we said that the tears for Hussein, for children of Hussein, when they brought the lady to wash the body of this little girl, she started looking at Zainab. Zainab, Khanum, was this girl sick? What happened? Her body is full of bruises. No, Ghassala, she was not sick. These are the signs of whips and attacks of the enemies of Hussein on the bodies of this 3-year-old. Now raise your voice, go to Bain al-Haramain. Assalamu ala al-Husayn. All together, inshallah. Assalamu Husayn wa ala وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى. One more time, when you say Awlad al-Hussein, remember all these children of Hussein in Karbala running on the thorns, on the stones, and away from the enemies. And say it again. Assalamu ala al-Hussein. All together. وعلى علي بن زيد وعلى أولاده وعلى أصحاب الحسين ولعن الله على أعداء الحسين. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم ولعن أعداءهم أجمعين. اللهم عجل لوليك الفرج والعافية والناس ومد في عمره الشريف وزين الأرض بطول بقائه. يا الله يا رحمن يا رحيم. For the sake of the last moment that Hussein, he looked at his children and he said the wada and farewell, and he left. The moment that angels were crying for that moment, hasten the zuhur of our beloved Imam Mahdi. Ya Allah, Ya Rahman Rahim, the solution for this modern era of Jahiliyyah and ignorance is zuhur of Mahdi. For the sake of Hussein ibn Ali alayhi salatu wasalam, hasten the zuhur of our Imam Mahdi. Let us be among those who would follow him with all aspects and supporting him and the path of Imam of our time. Help our youth, make them successful in dunya wal akhirah. Ya Allah, Ya Rahman, Ya Rahim, all around the world, mu'mineen and mu'minat who have hajat and requests, especially my dear brothers and sisters, give them khair hajat. Keep us away from jahl. Bring us to the nur of vilayat and the nur of Quran. Ya Allah, Ya Rahman, Ya Rahim, guide us towards the path, towards the direction that is your satisfaction in that direction. Ya Allah, Ya Rahman Rahim, remove this condition, this bala from the whole world, specifically mu'mineen and mu'minat. Ya Allah, Ya Rahman, Ya Rahim, accept this qalil tabassulat and azab from all of us. Ya Allah, Ya Rahman, Ya Rahim, let us live the life of Ahlul Bayt, the life of Muhammad wa Ali Muhammad, and let us die with the death of Muhammad wa Ali Muhammad. Ya Allah, Ya Rahman, Rahim, those who are sick, Muhammad wa Ali Muhammad, cure them, and those who passed away, send the thabab and reward from our gathering to the soul, inshaAllah. رحم الله من يقرأ الفاتحة مع الصلوات.
Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein.
Moharram. Mola Haq Imam Ya Hassan Ya Hussein, Mola Haq Imam Ya Hassan Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein. Oh our Imam, you are Lord. Oh our Imam, you are Lord. In Karbala, courage was shown. In Karbala, courage was shown. Because of you, Islam had grown. Mola Haq Imam Ya Hassan Ya Hussein, Mola Haq Imam Ya Hassan Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein. They were on the plains of Karbala. They were on the plains of Karbala. And left alone with no water. And left alone with no water. No mercy shown from Hurmala. Mola Haq Imam Ya Hassan Ya Hussein, Mola Haq Imam Ya Hassan Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein. You were paraded through the land. You were paraded through the land. Cover your face with holy hand. Cover your face with holy hand. While his body lay on the sand. Mola Haq Imam Ya Hassan Ya Hussein, Mola Haq Imam Ya Hassan Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein. Oh great Abbas, you were so brave. Oh great Abbas, you were so brave. For the Imam, your life you gave. For the Imam, your life you gave. To follow you is what we pray. Mola Haq Imam Ya Hassan Ya Hussein, Mola Haq Imam Ya Hassan Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein. Oh warrior, flag in your palm. Oh warrior, flag in your palm. To quench your thirst, you lost your arm. To quench the thirst, you lost your arm. Those hands were used to serve the Imam. Mola Haq Imam Ya Hassan Ya Hussein, Mola Haq Imam Ya Hassan Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein.
اللهم صل على محمد وعلى محمد. السلام عليك يا رسول الله، السلام عليك يا نبي الله، السلام عليك يا أمير المؤمنين، السلام عليك يا فاطمة الزهراء سيدة العالمين، السلام عليك أيها الحسن المجتبى، السلام عليك يا أبا عبد الله الحسين، وعلى الأرواح التي خلت بفنائه، عليكم مني سلام الله أبدا ما بقيت وبقي الليل والنهار، ولا جعله الله آخر العهد مني بزيارتكم. السلام على الحسين وعلى علي بن الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين. السلام على 9 المعصومين من ذرية الحسين. السلام على علي بن الحسين ومحمد بن علي وجعفر بن محمد وموسى بن جعفر وعلي بن موسى ومحمد بن علي وعلي بن محمد والحسن بن علي. السلام عليك يا صاحب العصر والزمان، الأمان الأمان الزمان. السلام عليك يا شريك القرآن. السلام عليك يا إمامنا وإمام الإنس والجان. عجل الله تعالى فرجك وسهل الله تعالى مخرجك وظهورك ورحمة الله وبركاته. Please take the tabarak as you leave. It should be outside.